Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Tales of Algerath Alternate Universe version. Today marks our last session in the alternate universe since our original Dungeon Master GameOver will be available next week again. We might continue this series from time to time when the Dungeon Master is unavailable or simply sick, which can happen. But if you're interested in our characters, links will be in the description and just follow us there. To recap, last episode was to put it lightly, a bit of a emotional roller coaster. From joy and curiosity in finding a new friend and ally in Digger, to excitement, adrenaline, fear of the battle with the mummy, Nimble's former patron, to frustration and feeling of betray by Leroy's invisibility during the whole battle, to loss and despair and confusion and sadness in losing Nimble, who followed his patron and became a god. We left off shortly after Nimble vanished, with Mino on the ground hugging Nimble's snake Dougie, with Digger on one side and holding Feng Pru on his other side. Leroy standing a bit to the side. And as you sit there trying to calm Mino, you hear a soft, "You will be okay without me. Just stay strong and work together. I believe in you all," coming from Dougie in Nimble's voice. What would you like to do?
Bang Pro. Can you recharge those orbs? Oh wait. I think I was forced to step into the machine after what happened to Nimble.
Yes, says Feng Pru.
I am grieving.
And I'm scared.
Mino pulls you, Digger, also into the hug, and holding you with one hand and holding Feng Pru with his other arm, being scared and worried what Feng Pru might do to Leroy after what happened last session.
Feel like the music is kind of the opposite of how we should be feeling.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm working on it.
Oh, a bit of salsa would have hit the spot.
Can you give me a second with Leroy, Mino? Says Feng Pru. Only
Looks like
only if you promise me not to kill each other. Make a persuasion check.
I'm scared.
I mean, yeah, no one knows what currently happened. The last things that happened was the ritual being completed and Nimbus Patreon dissolving, you jumping during the process into the machine, and then Nimble, after touching his book, also vanished with the book. So nobody knows exactly what happened, and if you jumping into the machine while it was activated was part of what happened to Nimble. But yes, Feng Pru, Mino slowly lets you go. And pulls Digger closer.
He is still very sad.
He pats your back with his now free hand.
He's hugging you tighter.
He's hugging back. The two huggers of the group found each other.
Whoop. I pull out a rock.
Wang Pru says, "Oh, Leroy, are you up for an experiment?"
Well, I'm always ready. Just give me a second. I find the nearest pebble.
Sure.
And you know how I got Tinker? I can put a 6-second message.
Yes, I know there's a spell like that.
It's an ability. I start to getting the pebble ready and inscribe a message onto it, saying, "Well, if I die today, just know it's been fun partying with y'all. I leave a pistol behind, the far back corner, behind a pillow. Be sure to give it to Mino. He's always been there for everybody. He deserves it." And that's it.
Okay, Fang. As you walk up to Leroy, what do you do? Mino just keeps you two in his peripheral vision because he knows you both can be trusted.
Since we are no longer hugging, I'm guessing.
Mino still has his arm around you, at least. Feng Pru says, "Stand in the machine. I will power it shortly."
And I do so.
Okay.
Oh
Leroy,
yeah, I toss the rock to Tank Pru and tell him, after the experiment is done, if I don't appear anymore, give it to me now.
Yeah, sure. And Digger, Mino is still hugging you, but he has turned his head just to keep an eye on them should anything happen.
I don't think it's gonna work.
We will see.
If it doesn't, can I hit him upside the head?
Roll for attack.
I said if it doesn't work.
Well, we will see what these two are doing. Feng Pru, I start Eldritch Blast the stones like Nimble did. Okay, so you have Leroy laying in the sarcophagus, the pillars with the now darkened orbs, and you blast them with Eldritch Blast. Nothing happens.
Don't forget the book.
The book is gone.
Well, there must be some sort of trigger that could replace the book.
The orbs are dark, and the book has vanished with Nimble.
Thankful, do you remember what was in the contents of the book?
Thunk.
Leroy, as you lean up to talk to Feng Pru, you feel a donk of a shovel on your head and take 8 bludgeoning damage.
Critical bludgeoning damage. He pulls out another card.
Well,
What does it say?
Won't work, dumbass.
I know, that's why I asked him if he knows or remembers the contents of the book.
I'm gonna whack Feng Pru too.
Roll to attack. Feng Pru says, maybe a blood sacrifice would work. Thank for the assist.
I know me and Mino have the highest AC of the party.
Yeah, minus AC. Minus AC is 13. It's not that high.
Mine is 20. How am I the one with the highest AC?
I mean, you
I
are
knew
a
I should have been an armor
warforged.
smith.
I only get a +1 for being a Warforged.
I should have been a battlesmith then. Battlesmith artificer.
Minus,
Or an
Basically the
armor.
tanks.
That's where you're wrong. Armor are the tanks.
Minus only wearing a light armor, not a medium.
Yeah, apparently armorer can basically use any type of armor that requires strength. Basically, they just nullify any necessity for wearing that type of armor.
Digger, as you
You wanna know
go,
what does work? On people it misses?
Hmm?
You wanna know what always works?
what works?
Chainsaw?
Something much funnier.
Another bonk?
Yes.
Vibrating stick?
Roll again. Mino actually could wear a medium armor, but he is already not the most stealthy creatures, and with most
I rolled the exact same!
and with the most armors, medium armors, you get disadvantage on stealth rolls, so you wouldn't be able to hide Mino in any kind of way. So that's why he's not wearing medium armor. But I'm thinking of it.
I
Okay.
took medium armor master, so I don't impose disadvantage on myself.
Yeah, understand it. So
I could upgrade to half plate, but I just haven't. I don't think I've received half plate.
I could fix you up.
yeah, that's possible stuff to do later. But as you bonk Leroy and then go up to Frank Pru to bonk him too, he dodges, and you try again, and he moves to the side, and you don't hit him.
This is why I have. Hey!
Oh my god.
Boom.
Dunk. Okay.
He takes the card from him, hands it to him, and gives a stern look.
So you swing, miss, donk, and give him a card. What does it say?
Same as before.
It wouldn't work.
Won't work, dumbass.
In the meantime,
This revolver seems pretty good against the roof of my mouth.
Death ain't gonna work here.
You sure?
I have Revivify, Raise Dead, and Resurrection.
all that for that, says Frank Prue.
Not even my own self-loathing can kill me, it seems.
Wait, you tried to kill yourself?
Yes.
Evidently.
Mina, just... You...
Mass cure wounds to everybody.
Yes, thank you. As you put the pistol against your head and shoot, your hand slips and you actually just scrape the top of your head.
Everyone heals 15.
Thank you. It doesn't pierce the skull, but you have a little cut on your head. And as you do that, Mina just runs up to you and wraps you in his arms in a big hug. And Feng Pu says, "Maybe need more blood, Leroy. Try again." "No, he doesn't," Mina shouts back.
Are you sure you want me to try again?
Hey, Feng Pru, have a handshake.
You sure, Mino? I mean, Fang Pro? This vial blood, seems pretty good. But, I need a bit more test subjects before I stabilize it. Apparently my other test subject, refused to go along with the experiments.
On Fang Pru.
You bonk him again.
I casted Inflict Wounds.
You cast in. You.
I am putting him down. Not dead. Down.
I'm just gonna look in the other direction and whistle.
How. Guys, please.
I'm not killing anybody.
No.
He whispers inaudibly. You don't take half damage.
No, that's a spell. That's only if you were like attacked by a physical weapon, right?
Sorry. Also, my shovel doesn't make it so you take less damage either. You'd still take full damage from my shovel. Magic weapon. Necrotic damage, yes. Magic necrotic damage. Last I checked, you're not a ASMR. You're a tabaxi.
No, it's not.
Fang Pru is.
Feng Pu is not a tabaxi. I'm always calling him a tabaxi, which I'm very sorry about, because the tabaxi is what I first thought he was.
Doesn't matter if it's a melee attack. It's a melee spell attack. There's a difference.
Guys,
You still take the full amount of damage. Sorry, but you're down.
guys, please. I mean, what is if we can't even... What if this all is for nothing and you hurt each other for nothing?
Mano,
Hit you with the shovel twice. Or at least once.
I think I'm not the only one that's in need of a therapist, it seems.
You still would have taken the full damage from the shovel. Don't forget that.
I think we all need a therapist.
Yes, we do. But that's for different
Oh.
reasons.
I think the therapist that you guys hired might not do so well.
Mm-hmm. And
Would you rather I use my much more party spells?
please, just give me 10 minutes. I could ask my deity for if what happened,
If you're going to attempt to hit me, Fang, you have to roll in chat.
okay, but Fangpro says okay, but want to hit me, you will get hit back. Guys, please. And Mino tries to shove himself between you two.
They need to stop trying to kill each other.
I've had enough of me dying, so I'm not gonna take part of this.
Just, give me 10 minutes. I will commune. I can ask Lathander what happened. Or if this all is for nothing, what you two are doing. Banpro uses Hellish Rebuke against you, Digger. Make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna go look for dinner.
17.
At this level, that would probably pass unless he maxed out his stat, which he wouldn't have because he's a multi-class. Because mine, maxed out, is also 17.
I did max out
Yes,
as-
Hellish Rebuke works off a casting modifier, Charisma. Or... Actually, I think it's only on the... Sorry, it's a casting spell, in a literal sense. I take half damage. Roll 3d6 fire, I believe. I might be off, though.
You point your finger and the creature that damaged you is momentarily surrounded by hellish flame. The creature must make a dexterity saving throw. It takes 2d10 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful save. But it's a spell, it's a warlock spell, so it should be against your spell saving throw, which is charisma.
He said it passed, and I only take 4 damage. And yes, it does round down. I know my spells, Fang. I play casters, and only casters. That's not how having damage works. You don't have the dice, you have the amount that you roll on the dice.
Roll 2d10 and then half that. Okay, 2d10 is 10 and you, Digger, you were successful with your dexterity saving throw, so it's a 5. Yes. Okay.
I am temporarily surrounded by flame, but once I get out of the flames, I look no worse the wear.
It's like a sudden...
Is it magical flames or just normal flames?
It just says
Hellish flames.
Hellish flames, yeah. So
It does fire damage.
as you touch Feng Pru and cast Inflict Wounds, all of a sudden your hand and the rest of your body is surrounded in a sudden burst of flames, but you manage to duck away before before taking too much damage. That's enough! Mino pushes both of you.
Should we just let them sort their bubble?
No, everyone. Stop fighting.
I'm not fighting.
There's no use in fighting and hurting yourself and each other. We have no idea what just happened.
He died. Or closer to ascended.
Yeah, and
This is all whispered, by the way. So,
Mino's passive perception is 20, so he would at least probably, and he's standing next to you, so he would probably hear you talking, even though it's very quiet. Well, this is going on. Are you leaving the temple, Leroy, or are you looking inside the temple for food?
I'm leaving it.
You're leaving it, okay.
I've had enough of death. I just want to be alive for a couple more days.
Understandable. So you told the group you're leaving for food.
And also picking up my pistol since I didn't die.
Give me just a second. There are plenty of food options with your role, like bunnies, deer, some birds.
Did you say bunnies?
Bear. No, not a bear. As you look around for food, Mino is inside still with the others. Even if he died or descended or whatever, there's nothing we can do. We don't even, if he died, we don't even have a body to resurrect. And you saw it. The orbs can't be recharged, at least not with hitting it with a spell. I can try commute to ask if he's okay, or if the machine or the orbs can be recharged. If he's dead or descended. But just stop hitting each other. You see this usually very tall minotaur just grow small, tired, exhausted, sad. Feng Pru says, he started it. I don't care who started it. This whole day is a mess. But you're right, Mino, says Feng Pru. Okay, I will. Just give me a minute. And Mino walks into a corner. So walks to the side a bit. Sits down. Puts his necklace, his holy symbol, on the ground. If it's okay with you, I would ask, is Nimble okay? And if the machine can be reused. Anything else you want me to ask? They have to be yes and no questions.
Digger just walks out.
Can we bring Nimble back? Says Prue. Okay. Nino starts to concentrate, and Prue, being the only one left in the big chamber, all of a sudden you see Minos' necklace, Minos' holy symbol, glow, and there's this small orb hovering above it at the height of Minos' head. Mino greets him and asks, something happened to our friend. Is he okay? And you see this little sphere glow bright. Yes. The machine that descended Nimble's Patreon is currently inactive. Can it be reused to descend someone else? The little orb goes dark. No. Okay, last question. Is there a possibility with bringing Nimble back to us? And the glow flickers, meaning it's uncertain. Okay, thank you. And I don't know how much contact you gods have, but in case you see him, just tell him that we will miss him and that he's a good friend. And I'm trying to take care of Doggy. And that we hopefully will see him one day again. And the light flickers brighter and then vanishes. Okay. Mino puts his necklace back on and stands up. Guess we have our questions. He takes Doggy back in his hand, scratches the little head, and puts him around his neck. Then Prue says, "Let's go back, Mino." Puts hand around Mino. It's been a long day. Okay. And you both slowly exit the old temple. Mino takes a moment and closes the doors, the big outside doors behind him. They won't lock again, but they aren't standing open.
Digger holds up a hand and walks to the door.
Oh, sorry. He pushes one of the doors.
No. He puts his hand on the closed door and gestures for you to move away.
Mina gives space.
As the doors start to close, you just see your friendly neighborhood cat coming out of that area.
Oh, sorry, Cuddles. Thought you were with Leroy. And Mina just gently picks up Mr. Cuddles, gives him a kiss on the head, and leaves him go.
So, what did I find?
Depending on what you were going to try to bring for lunch. So there are rabbits, hares, deer. Pardon?
Anything that I could find. Food is food.
Different
I'm
animals.
gonna cast Glyph of Warding on the door, but instead of the normal damage, I'm gonna have it cast Inflict Wounds.
Okay, so everyone who touches the door gets 1 inflict wounds. Okay. Leroy, you saw different animals that can become dinner, but you still need to hunt them.
How many animals are there that I can see?
At the moment, when you were leaving the temple, there were like 2 rabbits, 1 deer in the distance, a big pheasant.
4 and that's all? 4 animals?
More or less. I mean, there are small birds and insects, but these are the bigger ones.
So 4, and if I go with the pistol ability where I can shoot all of them at once, but I have to roll d6 and crit to actually hit them. And do I have a +1 or +2 if I use that ability?
You're asking me about an ability check that GameOver invented.
Yeah, but the pistols are infused, so they just gain a +1 to hit and damage.
So it's a +1.
And alright.
I am having problems.
So
With what?
2 6s, 2 or 3 6s, or just
Emotions.
So you have to roll a 6 for it to crit.
yes, and I got 3 5s and a +1.
So you would shoot 1 animal, so hit 1 animal, if I'm correctly.
Well, how the ability works is I can target as many animals and as many targets as I can, And if the roll is 6, it automatic crits.
Okay. Let's just make it easy. You hit. Okay, you have 2 5s, so 3 5s, 1 2, and your weapon has a +1. So with the +1 each, it would be you would hit. So you would crit 3 times. Let's just say you killed a pheasant, the rabbits, but the deer got away. No, he didn't hit a bear.
The
Bang.
dang rabbit had it coming. It knew what it did.
Yeah, I know your hate for rabbits. And Frank, I also have no idea how guns work, but last week, so I don't care.
All you hear is 4 shots in the distance and quite a few birds flying away.
Pew pew pew. So, Digger, as shortly before you come out, you see Leroy with 2 rabbits in one hand and a pheasant in the other, holding him up proudly.
Got lunch?
He does a hand sign for eating, and then a X across his throat.
So you want me to cut their throats?
He then puts his face in his hand at that comment.
No, so you cannot.
He gestures to Fang Pro.
Just, Fang Pru says, you can't eat, ? You now see Fang with his arm around Mino, and Mino coming out of the temple, closing the door. You put the glyph of warding in. So, I guess that's lunch and probably dinner.
Yep. Got tired of that argument and trying to kill themselves. So I just went to look for dinner.
I understand. I was able to commute with my deity, and it seems that Nimble is now a god. But
Yeah.
the machine seems to be out of order.
No, heard the news from the cat.
Yeah, we can't bring him
I'm
back.
sad.
Pardon?
I heard the news from the cat. Quite sad, and actually.
Mina just nods. Do you want to prepare them or leave it to me again?
Well, I can try prepare one. I haven't done this in quite a while.
Sure. If you want, I can help you, but I would like to
Yeah,
leave the meat
sounds
to
good.
you.
Sounds good. What do I roll?
What would cooking be? Intelligence?
It would be cook's utensils.
Mino has probably some knives, and it's just about how to cut the meat, so I would say an straight intelligence check. And Feng Ku says, do you want to call the ship here, Mino, or... Well, it depends on where we are going next.
So survival or intelligence?
Yeah, roll one of those.
I'm rolling intelligence since that's the highest stat that I got.
Sure. Like I said, last episode, and it's about cooking, so I don't really give a shit.
And you're helping me, right? So that gives me advantage?
Yep.
Oh, thank God, because I rolled a 3. A 2, I mean.
While you're preparing the meat, Mino is slowly
14.
14. Yeah, it's decent. Mino sometimes points out, so yeah, you forgot the bone there, or if it's easier when you slice it that way and not that way. But you have some decent parts of rabbit and pheasant. And while we were cutting the meat, Mino was preparing the veggies. And you put it all in a big pot to make stew again.
Ooh, then I'm gonna use these pelts. I'm gonna make myself a nice rabbit hat.
I mean, doesn't the leather need to be prepared?
Yeah, that's why I'm keeping the pellets.
Yeah, maybe in the next village someone can help you with that.
Those dang rabbits know what they did. Show dominance now.
So, what do we do next? And Digger, will you join us or be on your way again?
He will sit nearby and gestures for everyone to eat under his watch.
Mino kind of scoots to the side a bit and pets the space next to him, inviting you next to the fire. And Feng Pu asks Leroy, why do you hate them? He means the rabbits.
They know what they did.
Digger, do you want to sit with us? You don't have to eat if you don't want to. Then Prue says to Leroy, what did they do? Kill your village?
Well, one of those little pests bit me, and ran away. So I decided, you know what? I hate them, and so I shot it 18 times. Man, the face on that kid in the forest was hilarious. Nothing.
Then Prue says, you know there's a race of rabbit folk, right?
Yeah, just hope they don't find me.
I'm having an emotionally hard time right now.
I actually want to fix our newest friend's voice. I'm gonna ask him if he wants me to fix it. I've fixed it quite a few Warforged.
Warforged?
Yeah, robot.
Mino looks at Digger.
Digger touches his shoulder.
Can Can anybody translate that? I don't speak sign language.
My own.
So, Digger, are you sitting with the group at the fire or a bit away?
A bit away. Not, too far, but, far enough so I can keep eyes on everyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast message on Digger and ask him if he wants me to fix his voice, since I've had quite a small bit of experience fixing robots.
He shakes his head.
In a no or in a yes way?
Yes is nod, no is shake. That's how that works. Side to side is no, up and down is yes. This should be obvious.
Well, you should see this gigantic robot I'm building. Might quite surprise you.
After finishing his veggies, Mino stands up and sits next to Digger. Just sits.
I'll be honest with you guys.
Sure.
I am legitimately having a more emotional problems.
Because of Nimble or everything that's going on?
Some of that in real life and some other things. I've been having a more interesting recent time. And my real life stuff has gotten a bit stressful, even if I'm on break.
I understand. If you guys want, we can speed things a bit up, distract a bit, and start walking to Molten, to a possible Minotaur slave trade or an ancient insect swarm. If you would like a bit of a distraction.
I'm gonna leave now.
Okay.
For the sadness of this gets a bit more palpable, and my tear ducts start actually crying, and I won't be able to stop it.
It's okay. Hey, you heard me cry last session.
That's one of the reasons why it's getting like this. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Or day, or so on.
You too. And now we are only 3 people.
I wonder where that gatekeeper is at. Wonder how's he doing.
Thankful Digger doesn't feel that good at the moment, and he left the chat. Maybe we will see him next week. But today it will only be us 3.
Yep.
Well done. Okay.
Hmm.
What's the plan?
Well, I hear some troubles in the Kingdom of Fire. I heard it from a person out in the village. Do you guys want to go investigate it?
Sure.
Yeah, but be careful. Apparently, they have a really bad luck with slave trading. Mostly with minotaurs. So
I know.
I propose caution at all cost.
Bangpru says, Mino, are you sure you're up to that? Well, it has to be done. As long as I have you guys with me. What could go wrong? Mino stands up. And yes, I know about the slave trade. And as he says this, that he pulls the cloth, the part of his chiton that is wrapped around his shoulder, he pulls down, and on his shoulder there is this mark that looks like the skull of a bull impaled on a sword. And he pulls it back up. Fang Pru says, Fang Pru says, yeah, between me and Leroy, what could go wrong? Sorry, I interrupted you, Leroy.
Yes. I still have a bit of a trust issue with Fang Pru.
Let's.
But I'm willing to put my differences aside.
Yeah, I'm sure you two can work it out. And Mino starts packing his bag. Fang Pru says, hopefully. Well, shall we go?
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys something. You've noticed Mr. Cuddles is not your typical ordinary cat, right?
Yes. He has a cute tuppet.
Yes. Well, he can also fly, so he's gonna be pretty good on checking out if enemies or anything is trying to jump at us from sky high.
Mino nods. And slowly you start making your way to the land of fire, to Molten. And you walk a few days uneventful. But during the time, Digger excuses himself and splits off.
I might need winter clothing. Did you forget Nimble took my fire with him?
Can't you cast a new one?
Well, I need a rest in order to cast the spell again.
I mean, I would say that lunch would probably be a short rest. Or do you need a long rest?
Yes, a long rest.
Okay. Like I said, your travel will take a few days, so you will have time to recast it.
Okay.
And Feng Pru said it. And as you slowly approach Mount Molten, you see this big mountains rising up, and you start to climb, and the air gets colder and thinner. Feng Pru, even though he is the fittest of all of you, says, "Why can't there be an elevator for mountains?" And before seeing Molten, you actually smell it. There's this smell of rotten eggs that fills the air, and at some points along the mountains there are these steamy clouds coming from the stone. And as you keep walking, the smell gets stronger. And all of a sudden, a few meters away from the pathway you are on, there's this sudden burst of hot water as a geyser bursts out of the ground, making all of you jump for a second. And after some travel, you see in front of you, pressed along the edge of the mountain, Molten, the city of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And as you stand in front of the gate, both of you both have high passive perception. You see Mino's hands shake and balled into fists, and his ears turning and flipping, hearing for anything that might be suspicious, and simply being very nervous.
Mino, should you conceal your horns or anything before we head in?
Yes, I think that might be the best. And Mino takes one of the polymorph potions, looks at it, and drinks it. And you see his form shrink a bit, not much. His horns grew smaller and smaller and smaller and disappear. His hoofs turn to feet. His tail disappears. And as he finishes transforming, in front of you stands a furbolg with dark grey fur and the same star-shaped spot on his forehead. Fang says, "Mino?" Yes. How do you feel?" says Feng Pru. Still nervous. But this is the form I'm most comfortable with. So, what would you like to do? You're currently standing in front of the gates of Molten. Lyra, what kind of potion are you currently brewing?
Oh, I rolled boldness and the resilience. So basically, 1 AC plus 1 AC and 1d4 to attack rolls and saving throws. And I just finished making the counters.
Okay, so I would say during the last few days you finished those without any problems.
Yeah, they just I can just make them every long rest.
Yeah, I would say there were at least 1, maybe 2 days of travel, and it's currently late afternoon, early evening.
Yep. Quite
Is it-
surprising that fire still light up.
Yeah. I think Prue asks if it is it frozen now that we are on the top. Actually, it's kind of weird. Like you see, on your left and your right, next to the path you're walking, there's no snow, and the air is cold but not freezing as you would have expected. So everyone, even with Leroy's simple detective code, it's cool, but like I said, you're not freezing. Oh, you were joking about the potions being frozen, or
Yeah, that would have really sucked if the potions were actually frozen, because
potion
that means I
popsicle.
wouldn't be able to fly.
A potion popsicle. Okay. How about the potion in D&D never get affected by the weather bank? Yeah, I don't. Except if it's really, really freezing cold, like magical cold, I wouldn't say that the potions are very affected by the weather, especially since they are in your bag on your body. So they would at least stay in a liquid form.
I magically gave them a magic covering against weather
Okay. But
and
that's
time, so no matter how long it is, they won't spoil.
okay. There's still the question. You're standing in front of Molten. What would you like to do?
Is there a village in front of us?
Yeah, there's the capital city of Molten in front of you, with steam. With the city looks quite rough and old, but there is what looks like steam coming from almost every building. And like I said, there are these warm patches where there is no snow, and it's actually warmer than usual, or warmer than you might have expected.
It's really weird.
Van Cruzet says, "Let's go in," and he holds Mino's hands. Are you ready, Mino? Mino gives you a nod and holds your hand back. So you go through the gates of Molten into the capital city. The air is filled with the bustling sound of people running errands. You hear the banging of a hammer in the distance. There is what looks to be an inn, a dining hall, the big castle, little shops here and there. Anything you would like to do?
I look back to the group and tell them, oh, I forgot to mention, they're kind of a bunch of barbarians, so they're probably not that smart.
Okay.
I hear they don't even have a freaking alchemist or royal magician.
Well, we will see. Vancru asks, should we go to the castle? And do they have a chester? Well, maybe we can ask what we can do about the relic. Maybe they know something.
Oh yeah, Cuddles. While we're here in this castle kingdom, I got an assignment for you. Can you look into the slave traders, find any clues or their whereabouts, or where their hideout might be? Yep.
Mr. Cuddles trails off and starts to lurk around the buildings. Make an investigation check with Mr. Cuddles, please. And Vancru says, yeah, we need to bring the relics back. It slatted my mind.
Ooh, he got a nat 20!
Nice! Slatted puns, oh my god. It slatted my mind. Okay, yeah. So you guys are on the way to the castle. Mr. Cuddles is currently investigating the slave trade. And as you arrive in the castle, at the castle, you hear loud voices coming from inside.
Well, thankfully you seem pretty tough. You go first.
Vancru says, okay then. Kicks door open. I will be back in 1 minute. Crowley is annoying. Be good. Be right back.
Be careful, don't break your leg. Remember the last time someone kicked the door open? Let's just say you saw bones and no opening.
So. Kids. Okay. Vancru, as you kick the door open, before you lies this big hall with fires lighting up the interior, big pillars carved with Dwarvish language and imagery, and very rough and also very artistic, like you have seen from dwarves multiple times. And before you is a bunch of people just brawling and fighting, and everyone is everyone is just fighting and punching each other. Frank Prue wrote in the chat, I think Mr. Cuddles found everything out about the slave trade, like their names, their families, their pets, and has them at gunpoint. Leroy answered, Murder Cat. Yes.
Technically, he kind of is at making them at gunpoint since he can technically shoot.
Yeah, you have a freaky cat. Okay. Frank Prue kicks the door open and the brawl suddenly stops and everyone looks at the door. Frank Prue shouts, Hey, where's the king or queen here, lads? Well, that will be me. I don't know what that voice was. And you see, for a dwarf, actually quite big, but still a dwarf, this big dwarf fighting his way out of the pile of people, throwing one across the room because he was laying on top of him. Greetings. Who are you guys?
I show him my paper.
He looks at you. As he looks at the paper.
At least somebody can read.
Yes, he can read. So, an investigator. He gives you back the paper.
Yes.
Are you?
You make me Dr. Leroy Watson.
Are you here because of your friend? And he gives a nod to Mino and his kind.
Yes. I heard slave trade involving Minotaurs, and we decided to come and check it out.
Yeah. Good luck with that. We've tried for years, but every time we are close to catching them, to arresting them, they change locations, code names. They're always a step ahead.
Well, I already got a special informant investigating that.
Pardon?
I already have informant checking that out right now as we speak.
Well, sounds promising.
Yes. His size might confuse you, but he does get the job done.
Well, as long as the job gets done, I don't care. Oh, Leroy, bows down to you. Actually, no, I made a mistake. The king wouldn't recognize me, as a minotaur, but as a furbolg. So forget that the king asked about Mina and he just asked you about the slave trade, since that's the most dominant problem in the city. Mino bows down to you, Leroy. What about the relic? And Frank Prue says, Leroy, don't forget about the relic. Yeah.
Yes. We're also here on recovering certain relics and making sure they're safe in every single kingdom. Do you know anything about a relic?
Well, of course I do. But that's under protection, and I'm sorry, I see your license, but I can't just leave it up to random people.
What do you guys think we should do?
Fangpru says, at least you know where it is. Yes, I do.
Do you have at least a guard on it, taking care of it?
Oh, don't worry. It's well protected.
Well, coming from a king that looks like he loves to fight, I trust you.
He nods. Fangpru says, well, that's a first. Well,
Yes.
I understand that the thing with the relics is in every country different, but be assured it's not laying around somewhere unprotected.
Yes.
May I ask, how is it protected? Are there just guards or magical means? Because why do you want to know? Because we have reason to believe that there is someone collecting relics to make himself stronger, to take over the countries. He already has the harp of the land of the freedom. We just want to protect it. Well, there is a creature that protects it. A very powerful creature.
And how powerful might this creature be?
It would be, Fangpru asks, a dragon. Well, it's not. Fangpru asks, a dragon, a giant. Well, it might not be a dragon itself, but it has a similar. Its strength is comparable to one. Fangpru says, they have taken dragons down, mostly for dinner though. You mean the person that is collecting the relics? Yes, I do, Mr. Bard. When Fangpru asks what is protecting the relic, he asks, is it a dragon, a giant, a bard? No, none of those things.
Can you at least tell us the name of this thing guarding it? Then?
Well, most people just call it a swarm.
Where have I heard that name?
But, like I said, we have currently other problems than the relic, which has been guarded for centuries by this creature. Fangpru asks, is it a group of bats? Well, I have to admit, I personally haven't seen it. Because...
Is it a group of bards?
I don't think so. But it's been a while since someone has seen that creature. The entrance to its lair is off limits for everyone. Because the creature attacks on sight. And if someone enters, there will be nothing left of them.
Yeah, I've faced death quite a few times, and I learned you don't F with death.
Maybe the relic is safe. You still see, even though Mino is not a minotaur at the moment, he's making himself small. Fengpru asks, if they are invisible, do they get attacked too? I have no information about that.
Well, Pink Prue, since he said that the swarm has been guarding the artifact for centuries. And there has been people trying to enter that area, and nothing be left of them, either body or anything they might have left behind. They could be pretty powerful and defensive.
Fengpru says, well then.
Mr. Cuddles should arrive sometime soon if he has found information.
Fengpru says, well then, what do you guys want to do? And as you ask that, there's this grey and white cat coming from behind you through the door, walking
the informant.
around Leroy's legs, purring and rubbing up against him. Meow.
Looks like the informant has arrived.
The king kind of gives Mr. Cuddles a strange look, shrugs, and well, your informations are correct and enough.
Yes, would you likely give us escort with undercover guards dressed as civilians?
I can do that. What kind of information do you have?
I ask Mr. Cuddles what he's found.
Fengpru asks the king, King, want an arm wrestle? Hell yeah! Both of you make a strength check, and during you rolling, Mr. Cuddles tells Leroy about a cave that he found not far away from the city, the secret entrance to a cave, and that he didn't see anything because he was just scouting out, but he saw, he knows Mino's smell and hoof prints and marks of the presence of a minotaur, and he tells you about this cave and that there's this strong smell of minotaurs coming out of it, and that there are hoof prints and marks of something heavy being dragged into the cave, and normal footprints.
Some really good information. You deserve a reward. The next time we stop by and rest, I'll make you a cape worthy of a king.
So you make Mr. Cuddles a cape?
Yep, using the rabbit pellets.
No. Or catnip. Fengpru, you're the king. Prepare yourself for an arm wrestle. And as you start, Leroy, do you give that information to the king? as well?
Yep, and I tell him we need to do this fast and swiftly. We're gonna take this whole entire operation down in your kingdom.
Okay, as you start, Fangpru, you lock hands with the king, and as you start arm wrestling, pushing forward and back, and as Leroy talks about this hidden cave, the king turns his head and looks surprised at Leroy, and you slam his arm against the table. Ah, crap! Rematch! But yes, we have. But no. Later. Rematch later. Yes, I will send some of my guards with you. If your information is true.
Would you like to join us?
Pardon?
Would you like to join us? You might get some glory for helping taking down this operation.
Excellent idea. Well, let me get ready. And he stomps off to his chambers. Fangpru says, "Show us what the king can do." And after a few minutes, the king comes back in full armor, wielding this heavy hammer. And to his side are two guards in civil, wearing cloaks, but looking closely, you see armors and swords and other weapons on their belts.
Good. Should we do this when it's dark so that we have advantage and they might be tired? Or do you want to start now?
Well, if you want to rest before the great battle, there is an inn nearby. You can put your luggage there, take a rest, and we will meet each other at sunset at the door of the city.
Oh, that sounds so great. Haven't taken a shower in quite a while. Would really love to feel refreshed.
Me too. Me no not. Well then, see you later. And you exit. Fangpru says, "I'm always clean."
Because you're a cat. You're part cat.
Dungeon Master / a player question. Does Fangpru get hairballs? Because I have two very hairy cats, and they sometimes spit out hairballs. So thinking about Fangpru cleaning himself and then just spitting out a hairball, the image
Oh
is...
no, that's quite cursed.
Fangpru says, "I'm always clean. And not a cat. I have three that have never had hairballs. Oh, I'm jealous of you." So your exit, I want to speed things up a bit. You exit the great hall, and a servant points you into the direction of the inn you passed while coming to the castle. It's a bit on the smaller side, very warm, very inviting, round tables with people drinking and laughing, and there's this half-dwarven lady at the bar. "Greetings. How may I help you?" we would like to stay for the night. Vancouver asks how tall the half-dwarven is.
You probably know what this check is for.
Race. You're a race detective in this universe. And she is 1'5". She tall for a dwarf, but small for a human, and you got a natural 20. So yeah, she is a half dwarf, half human, with probably, from what you can tell, her father is the dwarf in the family. But she has this strawberry blonde hair, a bit of a beard, which is normal for dwarves and dwarf descendants, and a warm smile.
We like a room, 3 rooms, please. The king recommended this inn.
Yes. So 3 separate rooms for the gentleman. No problem. She gives you each a key. Oh, by the way, there is a community shower area, but we also have hot springs. That's probably why the king recommended this. He loves our hot springs. There's an area for the boys, the girls, and a mixed area. Very nice. Just enjoy. And it would be one night, 1 silver for each person.
Oh, thank God I have exactly like 5 silver.
Hot springs? What is that? Frank asked.
Oh, well, they mostly use, volcanic vents, and the water is pretty good, and I hear that it's really great for relieving stress and healthy for your body too.
It's like a natural spring that is, like Leora said, hot and filled with minerals. It's actually not surprising. I think we saw some while coming here. In volcanic areas, the water that flows underground gets heated up. Vancouver
Yeah, I like to
says,
join you.
might go in then will you guys join me?
Yes, and it's also customary to clean yourself before entering so you don't dirty the water.
Yes, please. Especially, I have to say it, but especially our patrons with fur. We would prefer if you would take a shower beforehand, just so the pools stay clean for everyone. Fine, says Vanpool. So you put your bags in each. Everyone gets a room. And you guys, the rooms are very nice. The bed has a decent size, even for the size of a minotaur. There are all towels already prepared. It is warm, comfortable. So you put your bags in the rooms, grab the towels, and go to the hot spring pool area. There's also, before you enter the water area, there's also an area where you can leave your clothes and take a shower.
You probably...
You disguise yourself? What do you disguise yourself as?
I disguise myself to look like Nicolas Cage.
Okay. You guys, each of you take a shower. I'm thankful as I must remember this, not the one shot. So you guys take a shower, And as you enter the area of the hot springs, do you guys actually... there are 3 areas. There's one with just guys or a mixed area.
I enter the guys area and stay 5 feet apart.
2 bros in a hot tub, 5 feet apart because they're not gay. I know that meme. And as you enter, there are these pools filled with steaming hot water. Fang Pru actually goes into the mixed area, which you can hear the different areas, but they are separated by very tall fences, so no one can peek to the other gender if they don't want to. And Mino, still in his furbolg form, a towel wrapped around his hip, actually joins Leroy in the hot springs. It's actually quite funny when you sit in the hot tub. It has like stairs. The sitting areas are built like stairs, so it doesn't matter what kind of creature you are. If you are a halfling, a dwarf, a human, an elf, or even a minotaur, you always have an area where you can sit at a comfortable level, like not drowning or not getting cold because you're only halfway covered. So even if you wouldn't voluntarily stay away from the others, simply with Mino's size, he has to sit a bit separate from you, but still in like arm reach length. Like if both of you stretch your arms, you can touch each other. It's not that far. And the water is hot, warm and steamy, and it's not clear, but it has this milky blue color, and it just feels nice, relaxing your muscles. And Mino gives a heavy sigh and sinks down until only his nose he sinks down to his nose into the water. And as Leroy and Mino just sit and enjoy the warmth.
How do you know I'm Leroy?
All right. Actually, I wasn't sure if you would do this disguise self in front of everyone or just...
Oh, that's
So the others wouldn't...
I did it when I got to the room.
Okay. So actually, if Mino didn't see Leroy, he would actually join Fang Pru in the mixed area. As Leroy, he might have come out of Leroy's room, so you might think about it. We played some chess, okay. So Mino and Feng Pru actually would sit there, enjoy the water, and like half an hour, so you sit and enjoy, and after some time there's this sudden and in front of you, all of a sudden, sits a giant minotaur again after the potion's effect stopped working. Feng Pru says, "This is nice, right, Mino?" Mino just nods. Yep. Very necessary. You actually see as all of this at the moment where Mino turned back from a furbolg into a minotaur. Some of the other patrons just jumped a bit, and how the heck did a minotaur get here all of a sudden without anyone seeing him coming in? But seeing a minotaur in these areas isn't that uncommon. So there's sudden surprise, but then everyone ignores you again. Fengpru says, why don't you have this in every kingdom? Well, Mom told me you need like a volcano nearby, and not every kingdom has that. But this is nice. We have magic, says Fengku. I think it's also not simply the hot water, which is nice by itself, but you see how it's milky? It's, I think, Mom's tribe actually lived near hot springs. She says that there are certain minerals in the water that also help relaxing, and they are good for the skin. Leroy, what was the performance check for Mr. Cuddles?
Oh, he was gonna give me a little show while I was in the hot spring.
Mina would actually have left Dougie in his room, since he doesn't want him to overheat. He doesn't know. He's not sure how much heat a snake can take, and he also doesn't want to freak out the other patrons with a snake having in the bath area. So you have Fengpru kind of walking on his hind legs and just making a little show. And Fengpru says, yeah, that makes sense. We need this. Ira, what kind of show is Mr. Cuddles performing?
I keep forgetting what's the name of the tradition of oh yeah, Swan Lake.
So the ballet.
Yep.
Poor Mr. Cuddles.
No, it was his choice to pick. He chose it.
Well then, good for him. Everyone just stares at you and your ballet dancing cat.
Hey, you got some moves.
Fengpru says tea would be nice with this. Yeah, some nice hibiscus tree tea. And actually, Fengpru, since you and Mina have very similar sizes, you would be sitting close to each other, not like the double arm reach that Mino and Leroy would have, but maybe one arm reach. And what's the dexterity check for Mr. Cuddles?
For the final how well he lands the final jump. Not very graceful, it seems.
Yeah, no, he actually he prepares for the final jump, but slips on the wet ground, and he lands but hurts himself a bit. And yes, Fengpru, you can hum a relaxing melody. Yeah, roll performance. Dirty 20. Nice. So you and Mino sit in the warm, milky water of the hot spring, and you start to hum. And it's quite nice. And Mino just listens, somewhat moves his head in the rhythm of the humming. And after a few minutes, you hear Mino just fell asleep with his head fighting not to dip into the water.
Man, a little bit of alcohol would definitely make this hot spring so much better. Dang it, why did I decide to quit?
Dungeon Master here. Alcohol in hot springs is actually not that good, since it makes your body overheat quicker. But yeah, hot springs are nice. By the way, basically I'm in form of water and heat. Molten, it would be similar to Iceland, where they have no limit on hot water because it's all coming from within the ground, and they have a lot of things powered also by the ground heat. Feng Pru asks, Mino, should we go? Are you tired? A few more minutes. And he actually leans his head against yours. Okay. Just a little, says Feng Pru. It's been a while. You have been relaxing and... Hello. You have been relaxing in the warm water of the hot springs, and you see slowly the sun nearing the horizon. And
I'm gonna get out of the hot tub.
okay, so you go out of the hot tub. Feng Pru, make a strength check, because you're trying to lift a more or less sleeping minotaur out of the water. Check or save. I think it would be a check, since it's something you're actively doing. It's nothing that happened to you, but you are actively doing it. And Leroy, you just get out of the water, take a shower, and go to your room to dry up and get dressed.
Yes. I shall be called James Bond.
Okay. Feng Pru, with your 24, you aren't small yourself, but Mina is still a minotaur. But somehow you managed to pick up this giant minotaur, like princess style. Mino is all of a sudden very glad he kept his towel on his hip. And just by pick, I mean lean him on my shoulder. But okay, anyways. So when you wrote pick up Mino, so I'm imagining how you just, princess style, like bride over the door, kind of way, and carry him to the shower area. And Mino's like, hey, you don't have to carry me. You just could have woken me up. Shh. You need to sleep, says Feng Fu. Thank you, but please put me down. I can dry myself off. Are you sure? Because I have no idea how I did this, and undoing this is a mystery. Yes, just put me on the ground and I will get up.
Strong.
I mean, he rolled a dirty 20. Okay, so you put... I simply had to. So you put...
What size is the
Pardon?
size difference?
Yeah. So you put Mino on the ground, and he slowly stands up. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. You're Deadpool, and I'm the metal guy. I forgot his name. Colossus. It would be a similar size difference. Like, both are not that small, but Mino is still 8 foot tall. So you put Mino on the ground. Mino stands up slowly, grabs his towel and starts drying himself off. And after a moment, he looks very fluffy all of a sudden. Feng Fu asks the towel he was using to cover up. No, because Mino was actually wearing the towel in the hot spring, but the hotel gave you multiple towels, especially for that reason, in case one gets wet. And you now have a very fluffy minotaur in front of you. Frank Fu asks, Fluffy, can I touch?
Ooh. Wait, do I notice this?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Wait, are you out of the hot springs area?
Yeah, I would imagine they're currently in the changing / showering area.
Well, I walk up to Mino and ask, since I'm still in disguise, I can help with your little problem here.
What problem?
Your fluffy problem.
It's okay. I have a brush in my room.
Oh, I can easily dry your hair.
Vancouver asks, "Who are you, and why is this a problem?" Sir, it's really not a problem. It's okay. I'm already dry.
fire from my mouth and just put on both hands and start like, you know how people usually comb their hair with their hands?
And you're doing that to me, no?
But to me,
Okay.
that's basically my way of drying my hair.
Give me a second. No. Uh, just for you curious, I made an intelligence check to see if Bino would comprehend you spitting out fire like Leroy does, but I rolled a natural 1. So he's currently so confused and embarrassed by the whole situation. He doesn't realize that you having a fire in your mouth like Leroy does means that, or that there's a possibility that this strange person is actually Leroy. But yes, you can do that with the fire on your hands thing.
Well, you may call me James. Most people call me James Bond. Or 007. You pick.
Greetings. Feng Pru asks, well, can I touch the fluffy Mino? And Mino kind of awkwardly gives you his arm.
To me or Fang Pro?
To Feng Pru, because he's the one asking now twice if he can touch the fluffy cow person. But it's always how I imagined Mino just coming out of the water and just floof. So I had to include it today. Well, hello there. I'm Pru. Fang Pru, says Fang Pru while petting the fluffy arm of Mino.
What brings you to what brings you here?
Business.
Which type of business?
The confidential. You. I can't speak that word. Says Feng Pru. The confidential.
Oh.
Yes, Leroy? Sorry.
Oh. Well, your friend Leroy gave me a little bit of information. He asked me to join you since he's making his cat a cape apparently.
Leroy, Feng Pru asks if Mr. Cuddles is with you.
Is he asking me or Leroy?
The player Feng Pru asks the player of Leroy if undercover Leroy has Mr. Cuddles with him.
Ah, yes. He told me he's gonna lead the way.
So,
And to follow him.
so you are a friend of Leroy.
Yes, an old colleague of mine, actually.
because of the situation, and Mino knows that he can't trust anyone in this city except the two people he came with, makes an insight check, which is a 16. Please make a deception check. Leroy or Bond.
And I'm gonna use Artificer's ability so I can get an increase.
Okay,
Oh, a 26.
Yeah. Yeah, I rolled very shitty. Mino believes you. And Feng Pru says, well, time to check something. What do you mean with takes cat thing?
The hell are you doing with my buddy's cat?
Is Mr. Cuddles even in the room?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Cuddles is still in the room. Feng Pru goes to a corner and whisper asks Mr. Cuddles where Leroy is. And you better not lie, cat.
Mr. Cuddles is gonna act very confused.
Yeah. Mr. Cuddles tilts his head and looks confused. Make a deception check for Mr. Cuddles, and Feng Pru make an insight check against Mr. Cuddles. Just to see if he believes Mr. Cuddles. And while Feng Pru is in a corner with the cat, Mino pulls
I'm
out.
also gonna give him flash gold. Never mind.
So Feng Pru, you see right through Mr. Cuddles and that there is something going on. And while Feng Pru is currently talking with Mr. Cuddles, Mino pulls out his comb and starts detangling his mane.
Well, all I know that Master told me is to just follow this to guide you and this sir to the location of the site.
I understand. Please don't get me wrong, but I would have appreciated if Leroy would be with us. I'm sure you are very competent, but having a friend around in a city like this, in a place like this, would be
Since technically
comforting.
Mr. Cuddles is not even lying, since I did tell him.
Feng Pru says, cat, I know you're lying, so talk. Or, oh boy, God's help you. And he rolls a 28 intimidation for Mr. Cuddles to tell him what's going on.
If Mr. Cuddles fails, he's definitely gonna faint. So what do I roll?
Wisdom? I don't know.
Yeah, he definitely failed.
So your Mr. Cuddles has a very angry looking Black Panther towering over him, demanding to know what the hell is going on. What does Mr. Cuddles do?
Oh, that's what you guys, what I just said, but apparently you answered. Since I was telling Fang Pru to just that he was told to lead you guys in the party
So
to the
basically,
location.
Mr. Cuddles doesn't know that Bond is Leroy.
Yep.
Ah, okay. So Fang, even though you intimidate the now very scared cat, he tells you what this Bond guy already told you. Okay then. Time to see Bond then.
Whoop. I'm just gonna head out.
You the player or the character?
Hmm?
Who is gonna head out?
Bond.
Okay, because I have so many people leaving me. They don't trust it. Fang Pru says, hey Bond, what is your relationship to Leroy?
Well, the Leroy. Me. Man, those were the days. I can tell you a bit of his past if you want.
Maybe later. I'm also curious, but he points at the sun. We need to go, or we will be late.
Ah, yes.
And I still need to get dressed.
And how many hours till the sun sets, or how much time?
The sun is currently setting.
Since I know it all the time.
It would be like half an hour, so you have time to get ready and to get there, but nothing much else to do. Like, it's enough time to get, because every one of you is, I mean, you used your flame, you're dry, but like Mino and Feng Pru are covered in fur. They need a bit more time to get dry again, and they still need to get on their clothes and their gear. They need a few more minutes, and then you need to get to the entrance. So half an hour.
Well, you guys might need to hurry up. We only got half an hour before the sun sets, and we can start the ambush.
Okay. So, a very fluffy Mino with now combed mane and is still quite wet. Wang Pru starts to dry himself. Leroy, please make a dexterity saving throw. As you're leaving the changing rooms. 19. As you are walking past Mino and Feng Pru, suddenly your foot catches at something and you nearly face plant, but you catch yourself in time and ugh, what was that? Okay, well then let's go. Feng Pru says, wet floor, my dude. Be careful. So to speed things up, because it's almost 4 a.m. at my place, and I would still like to do Leroy, not Leroy, Leo, not Leroy. Mino and Feng Pru dry off while James Bond goes to his, or better, Leroy's room to dry himself and put on his gear. And yes?
As I leave, all you see is just a really shabby guy in a really shabby tuxedo.
Okay. Why the tuxedo? Asks Feng Pru.
Well, you gotta stay classy. It's both sleek and classy.
But not good against swords, says Feng Pru.
Oh. This is I modified it. I modified this tuxedo. It should be able to handle swords just like leather armor.
As Mino comes out. Also, I'm assuming you guys are meeting at the tavern area of the hotel, and as Mino comes down the stairs, he's wearing his usual tunic. His fur is now dry and still a bit curly from being damp, and his hair is his usual braid, but there's this one strand of hair where there are 2 feathers braided in, one black, one white, and duggy around his neck. Feng Pru looks at Leroy with the Tom with us. He looks at Leroy with the sure blick. Guys, shall we go?
Ah, yes.
Just some random things. Okay, so you guys are on your way to the entrance of Molten, and you all can see from afar the king standing, or better, 3 figures standing near the gate, and as you get closer you see one of them is the king with 2 of his companions. I really need a dice tray where I can sneakily roll. You hear everything. Well there, travelers. Looks like you enjoyed your bath. Mr. Panther, weren't you in company of 2 different people? The king looks confused. Yes and no, says Vancouver. Mino here you have met. The king gives Mino a strange look. I was the Furbolg you met before it was under a spell. I understand. Especially, I assume you already knew about this place and its problem, which we hopefully will dissolve today. Mina just nods. The ant here is a replacement for Leroy because he melted from the water like the wicked witch. Because he melted from the water like the wicked witch. Well, as long as you're as Mr. Bond is as competent as your friend, I see no problem in it. Well then, he points to the cat. I assume he knows the secret entrance. The king gestures to Mr. Cuddles.
Yes.
Well then.
Also, my friend Leroy also said, you don't want to arouse suspicion when entering the area. You might get away that we might be coming in to, end it. So we don't want them to notice and evacuate.
I understand. Do you guys think it's wise to change my form again? Because I'm quite obvious like this. Feng Pru says that's why you are wearing a tuxedo then, and not to arouse suspicion.
Yes, but I can also cast invisibility just in case I need to get a quick hide.
Okay. I unfortunately don't have anything like that. I only have one more potion of polymorph left. I can...
Oh yeah, Leroy told me to give you this potion. It's supposed to increase how hard it is to hit you. That's what I remember him saying.
How long does it last?
Up to a minute. Or up to 10 after each one.
Thank you very much. Feng Pru. Fire, breath, and invisibility. Just like Leroy. Roll an intelligence check. Or insight.
Well, we did go to the same academy, and he was one of my seniors. So he taught me quite a few things.
17 plus 3. Leroy, please make a deception check.
I'm gonna add Flash of Genius.
Nope.
And that one.
Thank you. You see right through James Bond's disguise. Leroy, this is not the time to play games, says Feng Pu.
Hey. And I message him and tell him protocol indicates that I don't expose myself when it comes to breaking and entering fortified hostile location, which might endanger my family or friends. And we do have to take care of the maid that's in my home, which I don't want to get killed just because of my actions.
By the way, I wrote another one. The fuck? We discussed it, Leroy. The message spell is not telepathy.
I know, I'm
You have
whispering
to
it.
whisper, yeah. And then and I rolled to see if Mina would hear what you're talking, but I rolled a 1. Yeah, getting the ones out of the system before the fight. Yay!
Yay, it's not me that's rolling the ones this time.
Yeah, and not 9 in half an hour.
We don't speak about that one time.
The time you fired a weapon and all the hit dice were ones.
And how did I get 4 nat 1s in a row, of all things?
I have no idea what you did to the dice gods. Well then. Sun is setting. Shall we continue? Feng Pru says, Leroy, if you want us to help to live, you need to trust us and think about Mino for God's sake. Nimble death really hit him hard.
I do think. I think of mostly everything. I tried to think a few steps ahead of everything.
As you two are talking, Mino just kind of sticks to Feng Pru's side since he's the only one he knows. And you're here playing dress up, says Feng Pru.
Hey, I follow protocol. I follow every single law to the T. Even if it pains me to do so, I will have to do it. I am, after all, a cop, a detective.
The drugs, they were a law too, says Feng Pru.
Oh, no. Oh, they're usually allowed if you follow the right process of acquiring them through legal means.
Gentlemen detectives, shall we proceed? I'm afraid we're running out of time. Guys, shall we go? Mino just sees you. He sees you to fighting over something, but doesn't know what you're two talking about. But his unease about the whole situations. Are you continuing?
Well, let's get going anyways. Don't want to keep them waiting.
follow Mr. Cuddle's lead out of the city. You walk 10-15 minutes and he stops in front of what looks like a stone wall. Nothing at first seems out of the ordinary, but as you look closer and change your perspective a bit, what looks from one side, like what looked from the side you were coming like a stone wall, is from a different side. You see this entrance, this like yes, Feng Pu, you saw the future, but not Lyra's future. We both saw both of our futures with natural ones. Basically, when you follow the normal path of the road that leads to Molten, you wouldn't see the entrance because it's blending so well into its surrounding. But when you change the angle on the wall, there's this archway which leads inside. And like Mr. Cuddles told you, there are marks of people going in and out, and a familiar smell of wet cow comes from the inside. So, what do you do?
I try to look for the mechanism that opens the way in.
It's actually not a door. It's simply an entrance, a well-hidden entrance. It's an open archway with a tunnel, but there's no. It's open. It's not closed, but it's simply so well hidden that they basically don't need a door, and not a very well hidden door. There's like this grey wood in front of it, but it's not hidden like in the original campaign.
Can you tell some of your men to hide in the area, so just in case any other people come by, they can apprehend them and bring them in for questioning?
The king nods, and two of his men seek hiding spots nearby. Well then, who will go first?
We should let the sneakiest person go in through.
Which isn't me. So I assume Feng Pu, you go first, and you do your echolocation. And what you slowly open the door, and what you can sense is this long corridor that ends in an open chamber.
Also, if I were you, Bankro, I would check for traps.
Fang Pru climbs to the ceiling of the corridor. Do you check for traps? If you check for traps, please make an investigation check. What's funny? Nat 1 for investigation. You saw everyone's future with the natural one. You called it. So, as you
Well,
climb on the ceiling, you sneak into the corridor a few meters, but you didn't pay attention, and there's this loose rock, and you fall on the ground with a loud.
oh my god. Well, let me check for traps.
Okay, Leroy, roll investigation for traps. 19. Technically, it wasn't a trap. Yes, it was just loose stone. Leroy, the corridor is not trapped, but you detect at the end of the corridor is a thin thread across the exit, right where the corridor ends and the chamber begins. Feng Pru starts climbing again. And
Just don't cross or ever touch this wire. Careful about it. It could be a trap. And I am not taking any chances.
Feng Pru just continues like nothing happened.
And Fankro, see this tone? I recorded it.
The sploosh sound of Feng Pru hitting the ground, or what did you record?
Basically, like very short video of Fankro falling.
Yes, the wire is on the ground, and with Leroy's investigation check, he actually sees the wire going up and a little bell being connected to it. It's like an alarm if anything covers, as if someone is coming in or if something is leaving. While you two are investigation in the tunnel, you hear from further down in the chamber voices and bubbling and shouts and screams and groans and sobbing, and everything is dulled by the distance and all the stone surrounding you. Make a perception check with your echolocation. And as you come closer to the entrance to the big chamber, you see this big cave with pools of lava. And yes, you can roll stealth. 27. With a 27, yeah, you recognize a lot. Feng Pru is the first one to pick up on what is going on, but as Leroy and then Mino get closer, they see it as well. This big chamber filled with pools of lava, and there are minotaurs everywhere. There are cells with female minotaurs with children in different ages, old minotaurs, young minotaurs, babies. You see minotaurs working, digging and pulling out lava out of the pools, and they look rough. Their horns have been cut off, barely any clothes. Most of them, especially the ones that are simply locked away, are starved, and you can read on top of the cells are written in training for selling, and there are people, guards, watching over the minotaurs that are working, and there are some that there are some of the guards with the cells, keeping the minotaurs inside in check. And in the middle of it, there's this big minotaur, copper-like fur, muscles, giant, and he's carrying these heavy buckets, like they are nothing. And every minotaur is wearing also a collar and a muzzle. And sorry, just a second. Mino and Leroy, you both know where Fang Pru is and have a high passive perception, but Fang Pru just melts into the shadows, and not even you two can see him anymore.
Oh, I thought you said YouTube.
You too. So, what do you do?
I want to look for the one that's mostly unguarded.
That would be the minotaurs that are already in the for selling cell. They are just sitting very quiet, barely moving, and there's only one guard watching over them. Fang Pru says, he doesn't say it, but he wrote in the chat, "I am the night. I am vengeance. I'm Fang Pru." Lightning cracks behind him. So, what's the plan? The king asks behind you. Leroy? Fang?
Well, if we can knock out that god, I can pretend to take its place.
Okay. Fang Pru says, "We free the children, then easy slave." The thing is, there are children in every cell. In the for training cell and in the already for selling cell. There isn't a one specific cell for the kids. Then the one with less guard and not one. Just Yeah, that would be for selling.
So, Frank Pru, do you wanna knock the guard? Because if I were to do it, that would probably give our position away, knowing my history and stealth.
Sure thing. 1 second. Wait. Before you leave, Mino casts Bless on you. On you himself and Mr. Bond. So you can add a d4 to any attack and saving throws. So roll to attack for the guard. I use my blowgun and sleep dart. Okay, sure. Still, roll to attack. I assume... Okay, you rolled to attack 22. Yeah, that definitely hits. Leroy, you see the guard you were watching just drops and sleeps.
Okay, we gotta hide the body fast and quick.
Sure. How do we do that?
Is
Pardon? Leroy, what did you say?
let's dispose of the body. But first, let's loot it.
Veng Pru goes and drags the body into the darkness. Please make a stealth check.
Yeah, and as you... wait, Minor, you're right next to me, right?
Yep.
As I look down at my gold watch, I press a button and I suddenly look the same exact replica of the person that Fang Pru just knocked out.
Woo. That's cool. And yes,
Yeah,
33. You're pretty sure you and the body are very hidden. That's a cool watch.
yeah. Gotta thank the Academy for the sweet gadgets they provide.
So, Leroy, you take the form of the guard and I assume take his place?
Yep.
You hear all of a sudden. Hey! Make... I don't know what that voice was.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you hear this. Keep it, the voice. No, I won't keep that squeaky voice for.
Keep
This.
it.
Okay, everyone who is listening, the reason for my now squeaky voice are these two crazy people. Hey, guards, prepare the shipment.
Yeah.
These ones are getting out.
I got you. Since I looted the body, do I have the keys to open the cells?
Yes.
Can you help me? I don't want these beasts to overpower me.
Well, like it's your first day, and you see this big human man come up to you, body covered in tattoos, head shaved, and he's gone, and he's back. Head shaved and on his belt you see different a belt with different depictions of defeated minotaurs, and he storms up to you. If they would try to overpower you, they wouldn't be in this cage. So do your work.
I got you. Signal Frank to knock him out as well.
Feng Pru wrote in the chat, human man, he has the power of a human man, not this human man. Okay, Feng Pru, what do you do? How big is he? To be honest, he is, for a human, big, like almost 7 feet big. But I'm not sure if that would fall under large. Okay, better safe than sorry. Make 2 attack rolls, 1 for each dart.
And I give him a flash of genius, so he gets a plus.
+3, is it? Flash of Genius?
Yep.
Okay, you get a +3 and also 1d4 from Minos guidance. Or bless. It's actually bless. Guidance is the cantrip, the short one. Bless is the one that lasts longer, but needs concentration. 35 and 30. Yeah, they hit. What the? And he falls to the side. Boss?
Loot him, and dispose of the body.
Make a strength check for me.
Who, me or him?
You or whoever is dragging the body, make a strength. Can't talk anymore. Strength. I seriously can't talk anymore. Strength check. Yes. Bless counts. It's for every attack and saving throw, so it would 28. Yeah, you are strong. He's not that much of a problem, but as you are dragging the body to the side, hey, what did you do to our boss? And you see 4 guards running in your direction.
I cast a snare
What did you cast?
really close to Frank Pru.
What was the spell?
Snare.
What does that do? Snare. As you cast the spell, you use the rope to create a circle. The casting time is 1 minute.
Dang it. Oh, I told him, don't worry, he's drunk, can't you see? I just called a man to help take him to his office again.
Make what is it? Deception check. And
It's 12.
They make an... Nope. The fuck are you talking about?
I don't know, I just see it as it is. I think he's drunk or knocked out, I don't know what happened.
They pull out their blades. They also see... Give me a second. Yeah, they see the darts sticking out of Leo's neck. and pull out their swords. Roll initiative. 18. Grab my pens. 18, 7. Mino actually has a dirty 20. Nice. Yeah, Mr. Cuddles, if Mr. Cuddles is fighting as well, he would need an initiative.
Yeah, his initiative comes after mine.
Okay, so we have Mino with a 20, we have Leroy with a 12. Miss.
Oh, wait. You added bless to me, right?
A +2?
Bless. You remember when you casted bless?
Yeah, but
did you give it to me as well?
I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to roll 1d4 then. So the deception would have become a 14 instead.
They rolled a 15. So they would still not fall for it.
I could have given it classic genius actually. I just remembered.
So, and now for the guards. 13. So they are actually before you, Leroy.
What did I roll again? Oh, I rolled a 9.
Yeah. And the guards rolled a 12 and they have a +1 on the dexterity, so they have a 13. Mino rolled an 18 and has a +2 to his dexterity, so he has a dirty 20. Good. Which means Mino is first. He already casted a bless on you. Oh, I forgot. The king. So many people. The thing is, Mino has a lot of spells that are area effects, and he doesn't want to hurt you guys. Mino just seeing what is going on and that the situation is starting to escalate, casts a spiritual weapon on 5th level. Spiritual weapon, 1d8 plus 4 and 1d8 plus additional is a 2. So it's a 4d8 damage. 4. Yeah, I miss Nimbus Dimension Door as well. I mean, he's in the original campaign. He saved Mino from entrapment with that. And Benny? Oh, you mean the maiden that currently lives at Leroy's place. And he rolls to attack. Door's cocked. That's a 10 plus his spell attack bonus is a 10. This is a 20. Yes, that hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And those are a total of 10 damage on the first one. And it's now the guard's turn. You see this giant axe just swing down at one of them who gets hit and has now a big wound. He looks pretty hurt already, and now everyone is in fighting mode, and the first one makes a melee attack with his spear against Fang Pru, since you're the one pulling the big guy to the side. That's S3 plus S3. That I'm pretty sure that doesn't hit, but he gets. They are all fighters. They get a second attack. That's a 9. Doesn't hit. The next one does the same. No, why are they all rolling 3s? I have no idea. Second attack does a 16 hit. Two of them. There are 4 guards. 2 of them are in front of you. One just missed 2 of his attacks, and there are 2 in front of Leroy. Does a 16 hit? No. You just. Both guards standing in front of you are swinging their spears, but you just nimbly dodge and weave through them. The next ones are against Leroy. Leroy does a 14 hit.
Yep, my AC is 12, I believe.
Okay. So you take 1d8. First time I roll my new d8. So you take 4 points of damage from the first attack. That's the second.
It's half, so 2.
Okay, dope rogue shit. The second one misses. Now it's the 4th guard's turn. Misses. And what was your AC?
12, I believe.
12. That just hits. He rolled exactly a 12. Texito, go bye-bye. What do you mean with that? And you take 2 points of damage.
Oh. Is the 2 halved?
No. I have no idea why, but these guards are rolling shitty. Like nothing above a 10.
So the first one is a 2. Rolled 4 damage, and then the other one, the last one that hit me, rolled 2 damage, right?
Yeah.
So I basically just take 3 points of damage since I'm a.
Yep. Like I said, they have actually a +3 to hit, but so it's not that bad. But they just missed every time from 8 attacks, 2 hit. Next one is Mr. Cuddles.
Wait, he's gonna attack?
It's Mr. Cuddles' turn. Otherwise,
I attack first, then Mr. Cuddles is supposed to attack.
yeah, sorry. So it's Leroy, Mr. Cuddles, and then Fang Pru.
I yeet my short sword into their throat using catapult.
Sure, roll to attack.
Also, since it's in a straight line. Wait, is catapult a multi-hitting target if it's in a straight line?
The guards aren't in a straight line.
Let's see. So, you have to roll the dexterity saving throw.
No, that's a 7.
They take 22 damage.
Which one do you attack? There are 4.
The one that's nearest to me.
One that's nearest. There are actually 2 in front of you. One already got hit by Mino and looks quite hurt, and one that isn't hit.
The one that isn't hurt.
The one that isn't hurt. Okay. Minus 22. Okay. Now it's Mr. Cuddle and then Feng Pru. And yes, Feng, an 18 does hit, so you can prepare your attack.
Oh, he dealt 5 damage. Wait, does a 14 hit?
Nope, 14 doesn't hit.
Oh, come on.
Their armor are just too thick. Oh, that was your initiative. I thought you rolled in 7 on initiative, sorry. Then you would have actually gone before the guards. Why do I have a 7 in my head? Oh, that was Leroy's initiative.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to use my bonus action to give Fang to Master of Tactics.
Okay. Fang, if you're okay with it, I would make you come now after Mr. Cuddles, and then do the original order, like Mino, you, and then the guards, if that's okay with you. So roll for attack, please. Boomerang. Yep, roll for attack. 22 and 18. Yes, both hit. So roll for attack. So for damage. 17 damage. 17 damage. Good. Next on the order is Mino. And then I would do you again, so it's in the right order. Okay, thank you. And Leroy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
He should have had an advantage on the attack. Did he roll for it?
Why advantage?
Master of Tactics.
Okay, thank you. Did you roll with advantage? I mean, you hit every time just to see if you get a natural 20. So you gave Master of Tactics to Feng Pru.
Yep.
Starting at level 3, you can use a help action as a bonus action. Additionally, when you use your help action to aid an ally in attacking a creature, the target of that attack can be within 30 feet of you rather than within 5 feet of you, if the target can see or hear you. Okay, no natural 20, but a 25 and 28. Okay. Okay, so it's now Mino's turn. I just wanted to see if you might maybe get a natural 20, but like I said, they hit every time. Mino gets a dirty 20. So with his spiritual weapon, he slams it down on the same guy he hit before, and that's a total of 6. So he takes 6 damage. And that was his bonus action. And actually, as the start as the fight starts and the sound of fighting fills the area, you see coming out of the tunnels more and more guards coming, and you hear the king, "To attack!" And you see out of the tunnel from which you came from, the king and his people running out and getting into a brawl with the opponents, with the slave traders. And now even Mino starts coming out of the tunnel and casts. What does he cast? Like I said, most areas are, as most of his spells are area effects, so it's not good with especially sleeping person next to you. Weren't we just at the springs? Can we use the holy weapon? What holy weapon? Mino actually uses a guiding bolt against the one Fang Pru hit, so against number 3. That's a 12 plus 10. Yes, that hits. He takes 4d6 points of damage. So he takes 7 damage, and Fang Pru, the opponent you hit last time, you now have advantage against him. And that ends Mino's turn, and Fang, you're up. And the guy that just got hit by a guiding bolt looks pretty hurt. Oh boy, 6 a.m. Yes, I know. Okay, you go for the hurt one. Roll for attack with advantage because of the guiding bolt. 25 and 26. Yes, they both hit. Please roll for damage. By the way, my apologies. I know it's late for both of us. I wanted to make it a bit longer, but since this will be our last session, okay, 15 damage. You just swing and the guard drops dead. A hole in his chest. One guard is now remaining against you and 2 against Leroy. Next one, action surge. Okay. Like I said, since this will be our last session for the foreseeable future, I wanted to make it a bit longer, but we already started a bit later than usual, and like I said, I wanted to make it a bit longer, but didn't plan to make it that long. Okay, you will help Leroy. Which one is the most hurt, so I can hit him? That would be the one Mino hit with his spiritual weapon. Oh no, wait. That would be the one actually Leroy hit himself. This one both look hurt, but this one is a bit more bloody. And one question, is he focused on Leroy? Yes. 1 and 2 are focused on Leroy, 3 who is dead, and 4 who is currently unharmed is focused on you. A natural 20 and a 27. Yes, definitely hit. Roll for attack. For a natural 20, you roll the dice you're attacking twice since it's a boomerang. So you're rolling once for the first hit and double that, and then you roll for the second hit. The damage you do. Like, for example, if for the first hit you roll 5 damage and it's a natural 20, you would actually do 10 damage. And if for the second hit you roll a 4, you would make 14 damage. And the first is a sneak attack. Doesn't sneak attack give you advantage, or does that increase your damage? But basically for natural 20s you double the dice being rolled. You don't double a 4d6 sneak attack. Okay, so you like I said, roll the dice for the first attack, how much damage that does, double that, and then add the damage for the second attack. Okay. 16 plus 18 plus 8 is 43. This was against the one that was hurt the most. You throw your boomerang and it actually slices through the guard's neck and blood is pouring out and he just drops dead.
Holy crap.
Yes. With that attack he could have one-shotted him. Next are the 2 remaining guards. Yeah. Both of them start looking slightly panicked with everything that's going on, and the one in front of Leroy just panicky tries to stab you, which is a natural 1. And
Stabs his foot.
Shit. And the second one definitely hits. That's a 15 plus a 3. And he does 8 points of damage.
You mean 4 points of damage?
Yes. The second one, who is standing in front of Feng Pru sees what's going on and how little they are doing against you, and doesn't aim for Feng Pru, but for his boss, who is still laying unconscious next to Feng Pru. And that's a 19.
Can I try to intercept as a reaction?
What do you try to do?
I jump into the shot.
Roll a dexterity check for me.
And since I am blessed, that gives me a +2. And Flash of Genius, which I have
Bless is a
exactly 1 or 2 left, I
1d4.
believe. Huh?
Bless is a 1d4. Oh yeah, my 1d4.
Yeah.
Shiny dice, shiny dice.
And 1d4.
And 1d4.
Plus Flash of Genius.
Dex. Yes,
That's,
the guard with his
20.
competing dexterity save, he rolled an 8. Like he lifts his spear and pulls back, and you see the tip of the spear where it's aiming, and you just actually you would move out of the range of the first guard. That's an 18. He hit. You get prepared to jump in front of in front of the guy currently aiming at Bandit Leo, but you feel you cast mage armor on the boost. What do you mean with boost? As you prepare to jump in front of him, you feel this pain in your back, and you take 6 points of piercing damage.
I mean 3.
Is Uncanny Dodge a bonus action or a reaction?
It's basically if I get hit, I can half the damage.
Give me a second. Uncanny Dodge. I'm just looking it up because some things are bonus action or reaction.
There we go, look in the chat.
Starting it. You can use a reaction to halve the attack damage. I would say no, because you're already using your reaction to react.
I took damage.
You take damage. Also, you actually wouldn't. I don't care. So you take
6 points.
Yeah. And you feel this pain in your back, and with horror you see the guy stabbing his boss in the arm. I cast mage armor on the boss. What was his AC? How much gives mage armor? What's his dex? Give me a second, I'm not familiar with mage armor. Attach a willing creature who isn't wearing armor, who isn't wearing armor and a protective magical force surrounds it until the spell. That wouldn't work because he is wearing armor. His AC is he is wearing armor. I didn't mention it, but he is wearing armor, and mage armor only works on people that can't or aren't wearing armor, like mages. Okay, so you use your reaction. Okay, Fang, make a dexterity saving throw for me. 27. No. Leroy, you see before as the guard thrusts down his spear, but just in time, Fang has shoved his arm, shoved himself between the spear and the sleeping person, and you take 9 points of piercing damage.
I take 9 points.
Fang takes 9 points of piercing damage. And after the guards, Leroy, it's your turn.
Well, since I have 2 weapon wielding, I attack both times.
Okay. Roll for attack. That's an 8. Doesn't hit. 16 just hits.
Yeah, I hit the one with that one that's which one is the most damaged? Looks damaged the most?
The one in front
I
of you, the one closer to Fang Pru is untouched.
The one that's close to me then.
Okay. You
and I use my movement to move 15 feet away from the guy that's next to me.
That gives him an attack of opportunity. 12%.
I forgot to roll the 1d4 to... Wait, is Bless go to hit damage as well, or just to hit?
Bless is for attacks you make and saving throws. But
I got a 3.
Because you are moving out of the person's space, he gets an attack of opportunity, which is a 15, which I assume hits.
Yeah, it hits.
Where you, that is a 5, a 6. I assume you use Uncanny Dodge, so you take 3 damage. And next one is Mr. Cuddles, and then Mino. Nope, doesn't hit.
Pain.
Okay. Next on is Mino. You see Mino coming out of the hallway, where his spiritual weapon swings, and the giant axe just cleaves the person in front of you, Leroy, in half. And he gets closer and puts his hand on the shoulder of the guy in front of Feng Pru and casts Inflict Wounds at 4th level, which are 4d10. Give me a second. The fuck, warum ist das a shitty roll? Which does 14 damage. Yep, 40 max damage potential, but it wasn't that good. Feng Pru, you just saw Mino walk up, put his hand on the shoulder of the guard in front of you, and the guard screams in pain, and you see blood pouring out of his armor. It's your turn. He's now yes, I know. Madame Hexe is demanding that I go to sleep. He is in front of you. But yes, he was attacking you, stabbing you 1 second earlier, before as Mino put his hand on his shoulder, he actually pulled out. And he's gone. And he's back. Kid, I dare you. If you run over my keyboard, I will smack the booty. Cats, I tell you. Feng Pru, please roll to attack or whatever you want to do. Dex save for Hellish Rebuke. 18 plus 1, so it's 19. Okay, he passes, so he takes half damage. 15. Is that already the halved one, or does he take 7 points of damage? Okay, so he takes 7 points of damage. He starts looking pretty hurt. Next one, it's the guard's turn, and he tries to we are rounding down. Okay, what's your bonus action? Sorry. You can certainly try. Please make an intimidation check. 30. Yeah, no chance. He is frightened of you. How is he supposed to beat a 30? He is now very frightened of you. Looking around, seeing his comrades dead or in the process of beating up, his boss is unconscious. And you see a small trickle running down his leg and into a puddle, which quickly evaporates again. Feng Pru whispers, "Run," after he sees the fire. It's now the guard's turn, and he just runs. And as he runs, he just runs. But by doing so, both you, Feng Pru, and Mino get attacks of opportunity if you would like to use that. Yes, of course. Please roll to attack.
Do I get an attack of opportunity as well?
No, I would say he's like 10 feet away of you. He was engaged with Feng Pru and Mino was standing behind him, and now he has to get out of the space. But you, like no, you don't. So Feng Pru, please roll to attack for your opportunity. You roll a normal attack
Wasn't
roll.
the king attacking as well?
Pardon, Leroy?
Wasn't the king also into this battle?
Yes, but he and his guys are taking care of the rest of the guards that came in after they heard the fight. You can hit the guard either with a weapon or just punch him, but please roll to attack. And now, Leroy, as you look around, finishing off your last enemy, you see the cavern being filled with dozens of guards of the slave trade with their symbols, this bull skull with the sword inside it. And you realize the minotaurs that aren't being currently watched, that actually could break free or could even help, they just either don't move or keep their work. And Feng Pru, 15 damage. Yep. As the guy runs past you, runs away from you and past Mino, you just throw the boomerang and hit him in the back of the head, and he drops. Now it would be Leroy's turn.
I looted the boss's body, right?
You didn't
Before
say that.
everything started. Didn't I say to loot the body and then hide it?
You looted the first guard.
Is there any guards near me?
Dead guards. Everyone else is in combat with the king and his people.
I have the keys, so I open the cells.
And there's still a sleeping bandit Leo. So you open the cells?
Yep.
Okay.
And also,
Leroy, I barely could understand you.
yeah, I open the cells.
You open the cells, and as you look inside, there are dozens of minotaurs, different ages, from very old to very young, cut off horns, muzzles, collars, some of them just slowly, lethargic, look up to you. But don't move.
Okay. Okay. My name is James Bond. I'm here to take you guys out of this place. Do any of y'all know how to fight?
They just don't move. Some shake their heads. It's now Mino's turn. Mino actually goes past Feng Pu and leans over Leo. So many nightmares because of you. So much suffering because of you. And here you are, sleeping like a baby. Mino, don't act rash, says Feng Pu. Mino gives you a look and looks back at Leo. After we are finished here, he will be all yours. Make a persuasion check. Yes, you get 1d4. The bless is still up. 30, 20. Yeah, good enough. Mino stands up back. And in a language you don't understand, speaks, and you hear the ears of some of the minotaurs twitch. And to be honest, I will make it short because it's already very late and we have been playing for quite some time. It doesn't take long for the rest of the guards being taken care of. Both the king and his guards made short process with those people. 7 a.m. where here we go. Yeah, it's 6 a.m. at my place out here. So, like I said, to make it short, there have been deaths, there have been arrests. The Minotaurs, especially the ones that are in training, are very glad to be free again. You see tears, you see hugs, you see tired creatures, people, and this giant copper minotaur. Everyone is being guided outside. No, it's still his father. It's a male minotaur. And as everyone else is led outside, everyone turns to Bandit Leo, and the king has this big cuffs that look like they were actually made for a giant. Well, finally got you. And he puts them on Leo, who, after he has been shackled, awakes. What happened?
Your operation is over, dear friend. You'll be gone for quite a long time.
What? How? Release me. And Prue says, nap, baby.
Sure. And I just smack him in the neck to knock him out.
Make, what would that be? Stunning strike? Isn't that a monk thing?
Yeah. I think so. It's a monk thing.
Stunning strike is a monk thing. But, as, Leo starts to struggle, Mina actually walks up to him, looks him in the eyes. I wanted to do this for so long. And he puts his hand on Leo's cheek and casts harm on 7th level.
Don't overdo it. We all want some of that. We all want a piece of him as well. Don't take all the fun.
Is 76, and since he's casting it not on 6th level but on 7th level, it's 15d6. And that's 21 points of damage. And Leo seizes up, black veins running through his body. I don't know what. Yeah, I know the max damage of 15d6 is 19. I don't know what my.
Well, you forgot to add the. Well, you can technically go above the max damage since you also have to add the modifier to damage.
Shit! I forgot. I put it in. I'm using a bot, and I. Much better. They went 52 points of damage actually. And
you done with him, Mina?
The thing with harm is I can't kill a person with it. He has 1 hit point left.
You
and
done with him?
His body is destroyed for quite some long time.
You done with him? Well, I'm gonna cast
Let him
Healing
live.
Ward at 2nd level.
Minos speaks to the king. Let him live. Let him suffer.
I'll give him 6 HP.
So he doesn't die when he hits his toe.
You know what? No. You know why I did this?
Why?
Bring the shock collar.
Oh, don't worry. We will take care of him.
Oh, I got one in my pocket. I bagged one. Now let's see what happens when you put it on a human.
Wait.
And
Yep. Continue.
I put the collar on Bandit Leo.
Make a strength saving throw, strength check with advantage since he's already in cuffs, but he is trying to avoid it.
I got a 15.
Strength. Yeah, you add a d4.
I got a 17.
Nice, because Bandit Leo actually got a 16, but I remember the bless is still up. So yeah, you put the collar on Leo.
Yeah. I always wanted to know what this button did. Let's see what it does. Probably shock him.
Just let him live. I want him to suffer like my kind. Fang Pru says, you are still as Bonds, Leo.
Yep. Yep. And I go back to my watch and press the same button again to return to my James Bond outfit.
Sure. So,
Was technically still pretty dressed as a god.
you stole that from me, Fang Pru says.
Whatever gets the job done.
I will end the session here. Sorry for it being so long, but it will be the last for probably quite some time. So Bandit Leo and his gang got arrested for abduction, torture, slave trade of minotaurs. There are enough evidence and witnesses to support the claims. Bandit Leo, now after Mina's attack, scarred for life, will spend the rest of his days rotting away in a cell. As you
Who knew a cat could end a whole entire crime syndicate?
Pardon?
Who knew a cat can end a whole entire crime syndicate?
Yes, Mr. Cuddles will get a lot of fish when you're back in the hotel.
And a kingly cape.
Of course. And yep, for me, no sleep as well. As you emerge from the tunnel, some of the minotaurs that probably weren't how they look, they were probably not being kept for all too long. They thank you, they greet you, there are hugs and tears of joy. There is this copper, caramel, brown minotaur, hulking big with the same star shape spot on his forehead as Mino has. And they both hug. And that's where I'm gonna end this story. Thank you everyone for listening. Yes, they are pretty strong genes. So everyone, thank you again for listening. If you liked what happened here, please check out GameOver's channel. Links will be in the description. That's also where our main campaign is taking place. He's our usual dungeon master. I'm just here to keep company and babysit my chaotic friends. And till the next time. Goodbye.
Mm.